Lights, camera, action. Welcome back to Flick Flash. Welcome back to the world of ball gowns, power plays, and societal warfare. This is the Gilded Age. Before Season 3 sweeps us back into the opulence of old New York, let's rewind and revisit everything that went down in Season 2. From opera house rivalries to sudden heartbreaks, strategic marriages to silent rebellions, Season 2 turned up the drama and doubled down on ambition. Whether you're catching up or need a refresher, this recap will get you fully prepared for what's next in this high-stakes game of status and survival. Let's dive in. Episode 1. Peggy Scott and her parents travel to Philadelphia to attend a funeral. Her long-lost, adopted son and his adoptive mother have both died of scarlet fever, shattering Peggy's hopes. Back in New York, Oscar Van Ryn, struggling with his sexuality and snubbed by Gladys, is beaten and robbed after a painful bar encounter. He ultimately proposes to Gladys, hinting at marriage as a facade. At a grand Easter service, Bertha Russell reveals her plan to bypass the old money Academy of Music and back the new Metropolitan Opera to assert new wealth influence. A bold cultural challenge to Mrs. Astor. Meanwhile, Marian teaches Wednesday watercolor classes, provoking Agnes's ire, and a widower cousin, Dashiell, arrives, setting up potential romantic tension. The episode concludes with layered societal battles, visible grief, hidden secrets, and a looming opera house war. Episode 2. Gladys finally joins the Newport set after resolving Oscar's marriage proposal, and George refuses to bless the match without genuine love. At Newport, Larry starts renovating the home of a widow, Susan Blaine, sparking a flirtation that frustrates Bertha. Meanwhile, Marian bonds with cousin Dashiell during the tennis tournament. Distancing herself from her aunt's matchmaking efforts, Peggy is warmly welcomed back at 61st Street, filing under Agnes's firm warning to Mrs. Armstrong on respect. In a stunning twist at McAllister's party, Mrs. Winterton, formerly Turner, Bertha's maid, reemerges as Mrs. Winterton, married into old money, threatening Bertha's social plans. Episode 3. Bertha's apprentice becomes a battlefield when her former maid-turned-wealthy Mrs. Winterton crash lands the event, flaunting both a British Duke connection and insinuations about George's late-night encounter with her. Furious after learning George slept with Turner, Bertha confronts him, exposing cracks in their partnership as the opera war intensifies. Meanwhile, Peggy secures an assignment to travel south to cover Booker T. Washington at Tuskegee, defying her mother's fears. Larry's renovation project in Newport deepens his growing connection with Susan Blaine. Marian supports her Aunt Ada at a play and exhibition, while tensions between old and new money rise. Episode 4. Bertha Russell hosts an ambitious reception for the Duke of Buckingham, strategically placing him beside her to secure his favor and a coveted Newport invitation, undercutting her rival, Mrs. Winterton. The social maneuvering escalates when Mrs. Astor's circle reclaims the opera box from the Wintertons, deepening Bertha's advantage. George reconciles with Bertha by pledging financial support to complete the Metropolitan Opera. Meanwhile, Peggy and Fortune visit Tuskegee to report on Booker T. Washington's work. Ada secretly accepts Reverend Forte's proposal, with Marian's support, despite Agnes's stern opposition. Power, status, and forbidden romances all simmer beneath gilded smiles. Episode 5. Bertha Russell orchestrates a lavish Newport dinner for the Duke of Buckingham, only to narrowly sidestep sabotage by her scheming ex, maid Mrs. Winterton. Savvy staff save the day. Ada shocks her family by announcing her swift engagement and 1 week away wedding to Reverend Luke Forte, sparking Agnes's fury, until Oscar and late arriving Agnes provide emotional support at the altar. In Alabama, Peggy Scott and T. Thomas Fortune face a racist mob at a black-owned restaurant. They flee to a barn and share a tense, adrenaline-fueled kiss. Episode 6. George Russell heads to Pittsburgh to confront a looming strike at his steel mills. When warning shots are fired, he opts for a compromise, granting some worker demands. In New York, Bertha's opera war intensifies as she juggles box politics while Oscar navigates backroom railroad investments. Meanwhile, Peggy teams up with Thomas Fortune to expose efforts to shut black schools, using her journalism to fight for educational justice. Back home, Jack's alarm clock invention gains traction with staff support, and Marian is surprised by Dashiell's heartfelt proposal at the Botanical Garden. Episode 7. Brooklyn Bridge's grand opening dazzles, but tragedy strikes as Reverend Luke collapses and dies, leaving Ada devastated. Bertha reconsiders Mrs. Astor's late offer of an academy box, spurning it in favor of solidifying her power at the new Met with George's support. Marian, torn at her engagement party, faces doubts as news of Luke's worsening illness surfaces. Oscar discovers Maud Beaton's railroad scheme is a sham and loses his fortune, despairing before Agnes. Meanwhile, George's truce with Pittsburgh workers' mass tactical maneuvering, and Jack's clock invention gains official interest. Episode 8. The long-running opera war climaxes on opening night. The Duke of Buckingham surprises everyone by attending the People's Met over the Academy, sealing Bertha Russell's victory against Mrs. Astor, even as she allegedly bargains with him, using her daughter Gladys's future. Agnes faces financial crisis and must downsize, but Ada discovers husband Luke's hidden textile fortune. Resetting the Van Ryn's financial status, Marian breaks off her engagement to Dashiell, admits feelings for Larry, and they share a heartfelt kiss as dawn breaks. Jack's alarm clock patent finalizes, and he teams up with Larry for business support. Meanwhile, Peggy secures a victory for black schools by attending a rescheduled board meeting and resigns from the Globe to pursue her novel-writing ambitions. And that wraps up Season 2 of The Gilded Age, a season where reputations were built, fortunes were lost, and alliances shifted like ballroom dances. With Bertha Russell now standing tall as the queen of the Met and Marian stepping in her own light, the stage is set for new rivalries and romantic sparks in Season 3. Will old wounds heal, or will new power players emerge to shake the foundations of high society? Drop your theories in the comments. Thank you once again for being a part of Flick Flash. Until next time, keep watching, keep exploring, and keep that movie and TV magic alive. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and stay tuned for more exciting recaps. This is Flick Flash signing off.